Yes, indeed. Mike Whalin and Steve Bruck. We should have a good one to start the day off.
Steve Bruck, 36 years old, 6'2", 196 pounds, and he is starting to match out on the left lane. Just the way you want to open the day.
Steve is a very, very confident bowler, and I think he portrays that in his style, and he has a lot of tournament experience and has made a lot of cash. But most likely not as much as this guy, Mike Whalin, who was our king a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was an interesting story. There you see him motioning. That was a flailing elbow, and when you flail that elbow, it's going to go high 9 times out of 10, folks. Try to keep the elbow in tight, close to your body, and follow through with the arm swing towards your target. Converting to 2-7, no major problem there.
Very, very nice. Mike bowls in 7 leagues a week, which I would imagine is once a day, perhaps twice on one of the days. 50 to 75 games of practice.
You see him wipe a little oil off of his ball. Again, the lanes are dressed with a very light machine-based type of oil to keep the abrasion down and save all those revolutions for the pins so that they can do their damage.
Mike really lofts that ball out on the lane, which perhaps on lane 8 in the first shot is what he didn't do.
Not lofting it out or rotating around the ball too early. Either of those two things will do that. Steve Bruck's release. Cupped. Pretty powerful, but doesn't cover a lot of boards. But boy, the striking power when it reaches the pins is what you want to see. Watch the release, folks. You want to draw a parallel between this and your own. Don't get too critical of yourself. Steve Bruck's been doing that for a long time and creating havoc in the pit area.
Steve qualified with a 704. Actually, our 4 guys were very close in scores. On the top was Bill Heflin with a 710, Kim Herman with a 704, Steve also with a 704, and Mike with a 690. Oh, he is really looking sharp today.
Looking good. Age 36, averaging 211. And in his, surprisingly, his 3rd TV appearance. And you would think it would even be more from what we've seen so far. Mike Whalin on the right-hand lane, or left-hand lane, right-hand lane, just getting a terrible break there, Jennifer.
Boy, he really threw a good shot.
He ran it out to the left, and he wound up in the next county and just paid the price for it with a 7-pin.
And the ultimate price is he's on a strike already, so instead of a double, he's got to start back from scratch, hopefully with a spare. Mike having no problem with that spare there at all.
Well, you mentioned it before. Mike Whalin tells me that he bowls a lot of games, and I asked him why he bowls more games.
I feel I need those many games because to stay mentally and physically sharp. You know, the most important thing is when I need a shot, I feel like after practicing so much, it becomes second nature.
Second nature? It is.
Boy, Mike just throws so much ball. He's so strong. And that's why he gets the action he does, is that ball impacts with the pins.
And he's right. It's a very valid point, Jennifer. The more games you bowl, the more natural the swing becomes. The more natural your mental progression through the game goes. And number of games is definitely a key to a lot of people.
4 in a row now for Steve Bruck. And of course, Tom Schiller is here today and brought us a Ford Probe. Compliments of Schiller Ford out in Harrison, Ohio.
Stephen Bruck, perfect through 4 frames, leads by 30 pins. Stepping up into the 5th. A couple of more and he'll be halfway home to a new automobile.
Oh, getting an excellent break on that, tripping the 4.
For that ball to hold, he had to have dumped his thumb down low. The 4-pin tripping out last and giving him the advantage of nothing but chicken tracks, as Sam used to call them. Mike Whalin, age 38.
That time got the 7 out.
6'1" and all 260 pounds of him unloaded on those poor little 3-pound, 6-ounce pins down there. 36 pounds against 260. Not a fair matchup, Jennifer.
Not at all. And we all know the muscle weighs more than fat, and you can tell that's 260 pounds of muscle.
You betcha. And Steve, you might have a little bit of something to sweat about if Mike Whalin gets lined up. And he looks lined up.
Oh, snapping that 7 out nice. There's Tom Schiller on the right-hand part of your screen. Lee and Evelyn Ritter, of course, from Hudy, and we'd like to thank them for sponsoring us this year. And, of course, Tony Plank, our good friend.
The Hudy people have just been spectacular with us all year long. And the bowling establishments, everywhere we go, those little green bottles got a hold on me. Wrap 10. What a way to come off of the string. Perfect shot. Steve Bruck, right-hand lane. Good release on this. Take a look at it if you would. Good, clean rotation. Slides a little bit there at the end of his slide, but no problem in the pit area. Watch this, a 6-pin go right around the belly and just missed the 10. Well, it seems to shoot his spares all right.
Well, we've got a bad break for each of the guys. But a lot of strikes to match up with.
That's right. Each player, as you alluded to, throwing a fabulous shot and just not quite getting all of it. There you see it. 19 pins as both bowlers just stand toe-to-toe and duke it out.
All right.
Great break on the late 7. Stephen Bruck, take a look at this one if you would. The 5-pin, center of your screen. Next one back, right behind the head pin. Head pin going to the wall, comes off, intersects with the 5, and then twirls itself into the 7-pin. Interesting combination, to say the least. Wow. Look at the cover of that ball. Tearing the cover off the ball. Mike Whalin has closed the gap. -9 at this point, but watch the release of Mike Whalin. Unbelievable power. That's a 16-pound object coming right at you, folks. And it unloads with a fury on the pins. Nothing going to leave through that.
Oh, we're looking at 9 pins here with them. Steve leading by 9, and they both have strikes posted, and that's a double for Mike to go ahead for the first time in the match.
The messenger pin going across lane, but nothing to take down. 1 pin in the lead at this point now. Mike Whalin. Steve Bruck also working on a strike in the 7th frame. It's a toss-up at this point. 1 pin means absolutely nothing.
The 8th, 9th, and 10th frame coming up for Steve. Oh, and it's high. Almost tripping the floor. It seems to me that Steve has a bit of area, and by that I mean he can swing it to the right and it's going to hook up, or he can pull it and it's going to hold right to the pocket. That time, unfortunately, not getting the 4-pin as he did before.
When you're bowling well, Jennifer, as you said, you almost create your own area at the release point. I know when I used to bowl well. That's a great way to put it, isn't it? I would have that last-minute reaction at the foul line. If you knew your arm was going in, you'd drop your thumb and the ball wouldn't hook as much, or if you knew you were going a little wide, you'd kick a little harder. And I think lots of games, lots of practice, as Mike Whalin tells us, will give you that edge. And right now, the edge is not with this man. He trails by 1. And the biggest advantage going to Mike Whalin with a strike, very important strike, working in the 8th frame. Steve Bruck bowling his 9th frame.
Oh, excellent builder. Excellent builder in the 9th.
Steve Bruck's high average 211, low average 206, very consistent. Bowls out of Western Bowl. Lives in the Norwood area. And the thunder you hear in the background is not a storm front moving in, it's Kim Herman loosening up. Mike Whalin, right-hand lane, and that ball really got away from him.
He's turning around to make sure he actually saw that correct.
You better smile, Mike.
Really?
Not often can you throw one that bad and get away with it, much less capitalize on it in the all-important 9th frame.
He went up by 11 on that shot.
11 pins and 6 in a row. It's still anybody's match. It's Michael's to win if he can strike out here in the 10th frame. If he gets them all, he's telling you to hit.
He just needs a good count, and he's got it.
Yep. Steve Bruck bowled a very, very good game. Trips out 1-4, leaves another 4, and a wrap 10. Other than that, pretty mechanically sound game, Jennifer.
He had a perfect game through 9 frames anyway. And he shut out. That's a bad feeling, isn't it?
Yes, how well I know. The messenger pen just putting an extra nail in the coffin. Mike Whalin striking one more time would give him a meager 270.
Bad day of bowling for Mike.
Yeah, shake your head with 270, Mike. Come on now.
Excellent. And Steve can go out for 259, which is just an excellent game. I think we started this day off right, Dave.
Well,
a lot of action.
Started it off right. Doesn't mean anything. 9 pin out. 269, Mike Whalen's final score, a fantastic score. And if I'm not mistaken, Jennifer, when the week that he did win, a couple of weeks back, he shot a 250-something game as he was headed out the door to a tournament to New York. So Mike is accustomed to shooting some pretty big numbers. Again, just no interest in that particular shot, no real effort on Steve Bruck's part, and Steve having appeared 3 times on our show and not being able to come away a winner today, running into a buzzsaw. Mike Whalin. See if he can make the 1-2-4. A tough spare for some of us.
And he'll agree, I'm sure. Still an excellent, excellent showing today for Steve Bruck.
There's the handshake. Mike Whalin, 269. Stephen Bruck, 227. Not enough, but stay tuned. Match 2 will be coming up right after a little gold ball action.